Hello everyone, my name is Laurie Hirsch. I'm from the Sheffield Hallam University team and working mostly on Work Package 7. I'm going to do a brief screencast to introduce you to some of the tasks you're going to work on. And the idea is that we're going to improve the end user interface and the visualization tools available in the ePoolice system. Right, so to get started, I am going to give you, there are some workshop notes, and the first thing to note is that all the URLs that I'm going to be using, all the websites, they're all listed in the workshop notes, so you don't need to remember the URLs, you don't need to remember the sites, it's all there. So the first task is to examine some of the visualizations we're going to use. For Work Package 7, I'm going to concentrate, certainly for this workshop, on some HTML5 tools. There's a number of advantages to them. They can be run in a modern browser, and they're generally easily acceptable. It's not necessarily the final format for the ePoolice WP7 output, but it's a good starting place today. I mean, for example, we are quite likely to be using the SAS tools in addition to these, but let's start with these. So the first one is to go to the Google Charts, and you can I'll just get the Google Charts URL up. From the Google Charts, we can see there's a gallery of charts which appears, and all of these, any of these, we could quite easily include in the WP7 interface. So one of the tasks in the workshop is going to be having a look at any of these. So, for example, if you want to pick out one of the charts, you can click on it and have a look at the examples and consider whether that will be useful as part of the interface for Work Package 7. So you can see there's quite a number of charts. We can mix different chart types and lots of different ways of visualizing the data that could be coming from some of the other work packages, indicating a possible OC threat. And the next gallery I want to look at is one that's coming from a package called D3, which is a HTML5 package. It's completely open source, so we can easily use any of these visualizations in our output. And it might be worth going through any of these that might be relevant and consider how they might be useful for ePoolice. So, for example, we've got bubble charts. The size can be related to different threat types, etc. We've got different ways of representing links between different elements of the chart. So again, we have to think about the output coming from some of the knowledge repository or the environmental scanning. We do have animated charts as well, if that's considered useful for the end user analysts. We can use, and all of these could be, if we do use something like this, we can easily, for example, change the size of the blobs, add labels to the blobs, change the links. One nice thing about this library is that it will handle very large amounts of data, process it in a very efficient way. It uses HTML5 technology like JavaScript and JSON to do this. So hopefully you can start to see the wide variety that we've got here, and I want you to examine these and consider which ones might be useful. So have a little play with some of these. Here's an example of a labeled one, that same one, but where again we could control the labels. The labels can be coming directly from our data, and as I say, it will scale up quite nicely if we use this package. So quite a few there to look through. Then the second task I want you to look at is to look at the prototype which we've developed at SHU. So again, the URL is in the notes, but I'll just paste that in here. And here's our prototype. So this is based mainly, again, on HTML5 technology and Google Maps in particular, because if you read the DAO, one of the main things we've got to do is produce a layered map visualization, and certainly Google is our very nice API, a nice way to do this. There are alternatives which we may use, but Google is the one we're looking at the moment. So you can see, first of all, just to get the basic map, we need to enter the area that we want to look at. So this one does have something called geocoding, which means it will do its best to recognize a place. I mean, we can enter a postcode, we can enter a city name, and that will work quite well. Or we can try and enter a place. So, for example, if I put in the Eiffel Tower, and even if I spell that very badly, it's clever enough to recognize that that's the area that we want. Now, currently we don't have any live data to work coming from the other work packages to represent on the map. So what we've done at SHU is to use some live data, and the live data we're using is actually crime data from data.police.uk, which is a site, a publicly available site, which lists crimes that have occurred in the UK. So if we, for example, put the name of a place in the UK, so if I put the city of Bristol, for example, the map of Bristol appears, and also the crime data coming from data.police.uk is represented on this map, and we can zoom in and out of the map to see see where the crimes have occurred. So these dots do represent actual crimes that have occurred. We can, from data.police.uk, actually lets us represent crimes in different crime types. So here we can, for example, just reduce that just to drug crime, and that's shown on the map here. So have a little play with that, have a look at it does only work for UK crime at the moment, but that could be extended if that's considered a useful feature for work package 7. If we enter Sheffield, as well as the Sheffield crime type, here we've got the drug crime in Sheffield represented. I've added a marker here which is a fictional marker. It's just but it could represent data that's coming through from our analysis of the data in the other work packages. So this might represent what ePoolice considers to be an OC threat at this marker here. So is it useful for the analyst to be able to see that threat surrounded by the actual crime data? Is that a useful feature for the analyst to see? That's one of the things which you might want to discuss. We do have some other tabs here. Really, this is very much a prototype, just to get you think. It's not what we consider the final ePoolice product by any means. This is just to help us to think about what could appear in the interface. So we can analyze threats, and here we've got gauges representing threat levels and confidence in the threats. Obviously, all those visualizations you've looked at, any of those could be put in this area. So it's worth thinking about which ones might be useful to include. And we do have to be able to submit threat data. If the analyst recognizes a new threat, they need to be able to input to the system. So here's a very rough and ready screen to do that. What other inputs might the analyst want to do? The other thing to think about is that we have said we can drill down into any crime. So how is that going to work on the interface? So for example, if an analyst zooms in on a particular crime, how can they get back to the data in the repository, or to actually find out what the crime is? What's the best way to represent that? All of these are things which you can discuss. Ideally, I would like you to be able to sketch out your ideas for the input to help us improve the interface for the analyst. What's actually going to be useful for the analyst? How are we best going to represent the OC threats on this visual alarm tool? So that's just about it. Just a reminder, you do need to use Google Chrome. This has only been tested on Google Chrome. If you use another browser, it's quite possibly will work in Firefox or the latest version of IE, but to make sure it's working at this stage, I recommend you use Google Chrome. Well, I hope the workshop goes well, and of course you can always contact me via email or whatever if you do have any questions. Thank you.